Don't count out the Tide, the final from Death Valley. Jalen Milroe, 42, LSU 13. To be fair, the Bama defense showed up. Yeah, they had much to do with this one as well. Yes, it was truly the Alabama football team, 42, and the LSU Tigers, 13. Let's get to it right here at the Voice of College Football. Appreciate you stopping by for the best in discussion, debate, and analysis. Please like the video and subscribe. Bama led 7-3, and that was a Jalen Milroe touchdown. Get used to it. He, with that first touchdown, broke Jalen Hurts' club record for rushing touchdowns by a quarterback. All right, the Bama running backs, as outlined by Kirk Herbstreit on the broadcast, used very successfully in the pass game as an outlet. It turned into Jalen Milroe's complete show in the second half, but in the first half, it was Jam Miller, it was Justice Haynes in the backfield, swinging out for swing passes, screen passes, outlets, and then these guys would just catch it in space, and there wasn't an LSU soul in sight time after time after time after time. They also do an excellent job of staying in to block Milroe in the pocket, then also being utilized in the backfield to be lead blockers for Jalen Milroe in some very unique and creative ways by Kalen DeBoer. Even though the LSU defense did a nice job against the traditional running backs, Miller and Haynes, in the run game, 2.9 yards per carry. They once again, Blake Baker's defense had issues with a running, dynamic running quarterback, as we will outline when you think about South Carolina. Lenoris Sellers, also Texas A&M a couple weeks ago, Marcel Reed, and now Jalen Milroe. Not that Blake Baker and LSU is the only team in the country that has an issue with dynamic running quarterbacks, but they in particular do this season. Ryan Williams, of course, one of the dynamic players in all of college football, the freshman phenom, did not have a great day. 2 catches, 29 yards, did factor into the scoring on a run on an end around, but he dropped a bomb that could have been a touchdown. There was a lot of rain in the air, slick conditions, and so forth, and it didn't track the football. Beautifully thrown deep ball. We've heard that before from Jalen Milroe, one of the best deep ball throwers in all of college football. Otherwise, Jalen Milroe's 12 of 18 for 109 yards would have been a little bit more scintillating had Williams caught the football. Bama up 14-3 near the red zone. LSU made a stand, forced the field goal, and then Bama committed penalty, which knocked them out of field goal range. So Bama's got all the momentum. They are dominating this game on both sides of the ball. They're up 14-3. They march into field goal range. They get kicked back based on a negative play and a penalty, which Kalen DeBoer got about as upset as I've seen him. And it forced Bama to punt. LSU, for the first time in the entire game, took the punt, drove it down the field, kicked a field goal to get within 14-6. And I marked right here, turning point, ? Although I really didn't believe that because I had Bama to win this game comfortably, but I thought, hey, maybe. But turning point, not exactly. LSU on the next series defensively did get a 4th and 1 stop, but this is how the night went for LSU. They get a big 4th and 1 stop with Bama at their 30, and then on the very next play on offense, after LSU's defense did all that work, Garrett Nussmeier, strip sack, wasn't his fault. The center moved the protection, was looking left. There was a dude that almost took off his shoulder going right by him, a Bama linebacker. The LSU center never gave him a look, and again, they almost hit headgear. And he almost sideswiped him on its way to Nussmeier and forcing the strip sack for the fumble. And this was at a key point in the game because, boom, Jalen Milroe was off to the races immediately for a touchdown. It was 21-6. We open the second half at 21-6. LSU goes right down the field. 14 plays, 71 yards. It's a thing of beauty. Nussmeier using his legs in addition to his arm. However, Deontay Lawson duped him at the goal line on an interception where he let the receiver go. Nussmeier thought he was going to trail the receiver across the goal line. He didn't. He stayed put, picked off the pass, and that was pretty much it for LSU, although we did not necessarily know it at the time. At 21-6, game over. And then it became truly the Jalen Milroe show from there. First, we did have LSU get a sack. Again, this is how it went for the Tigers on this night. Yes, they played poorly, but they also walked themselves into some bad situations. They get the sack on Milroe. They're getting off the field, but lo and behold, Savion Jones with a face mask on Milroe, and the LSU fans behaved like morons. They started to pull the Texas stunt of throwing the water bottles onto the field, and it had to be cleaned up, of course, and delayed the game a few minutes. And those people are a bunch of clowns and morons that need to behave themselves, of course. Ryan Williams with the end around after the turnover of 22 yards. Jalen Milroe, 19 yards for the touchdown, 28-6. So Bama took all of 2 plays to put the ball into the hands of their 2 dynamic playmakers. And again, game over at 28-6. LSU again issues defending the quarterback run when it's a guy like Jalen Milroe, Marcel Reed, Lenore Sellers. Milroe's probably the best in the business currently. Milroe on 3rd and 9, just to say he could do it, just to show off, 72 yards. And again, Bama with a beautifully set up play. 2 tailbacks in the backfield next to Milroe on either side. Fakes to one comes out to be utilized as a lead blocker, and there goes Jalen Milroe for 72 yards, and it's 35-6. 185 yards rushing from the quarterback, 4 touchdowns. LSU fans are used to seeing this, but over the last 2 years, they've been used to seeing this out of their quarterback, Jaden Daniels. And speaking of which, Garrett Nussmeier threw his 10th interception on this night, 10th this season. Over the last 2 seasons previously, Jaden Daniels threw 7 against 56 touchdowns in 2022 and 23. So a considerable drop-off at the quarterback position, of course, for LSU, and that doesn't even take into account that Jaden Daniels was the Jalen Milroe of the SEC for those 2 seasons. Bama 42, LSU 13. Bayou Bengals dropped to 6-3. However, only of 2 of those losses are in the SEC. Therefore, they have the same record in the SEC in the loss column as Bama, and a slew of other teams. Of course, Georgia lost to Ole Miss. So those 2 teams also have 2 losses. Just about everybody outside of Texas and Texas A&M have 2 losses in the SEC. So even though it seems ridiculous, LSU is not dead in the SEC. They appear dead on the field, but they've got Florida, Vandy, and Oklahoma, 3 games in which they will be the substantial favorite to finish at 6-2 and possibly cause a logjam at the top of the SEC. For Bama, it's 7-2 overall, 2 losses in the conference as well. They've got Oklahoma and the Iron Bowl to go. Your thoughts about Bama? If Jalen Milroe and the defense play to this extent, can they make a run at the national championship? Your thoughts down below right here at the Voice of College Football.